ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a quick video I wanted to do here. It's kind of a combination of a couple of things. One, it's the latest episode of my Test Drive Le Mans Let's Play. As you can see, we're in round 3 of the Championship and Mulsanne, getting underway on the grid, and we are down and away straight away, me and my plucky Marcos. I haven't uploaded one of these for a little while because I've uninstalled Boot Camp off of my MacBook, so I've not been able to play the game. But the real point of today's video is an interesting sort of comparison because it's Webzik, or aka Eric Webler, one of my a guy who I've known on YouTube for years and years and years, has posted some quite interesting videos lately decrying the kind of decline in quality of NASCAR games under British developer Eutechnyx. Now, interestingly, I haven't played any of the new NASCAR games developed by Eutechnyx, but there's some familiar things coming through that people like Webzik and other people are saying. They're saying things like bad AI, bugs, glitches, inaccurate rosters, things like that. And it got me thinking, because I've been playing Test Drive Le Mans, or Le Mans 24 Hours, it's been known in Europe. Some of the problems sound quite familiar, which, considering that Le Mans 24 Hours was released originally in about 1999-2000, makes it about 14 years old. So my question is, haven't Eutechnyx learnt the lesson? I certainly haven't learned how to drive cleanly, as I've nerfed off an El Harpeth Porsche yet again. Let's begin. First up, terrible AI. This is a common criticism of the new NASCAR The Game, Inside Line series, whatever. You know, AI that is just unpredictable, they move around, they're really easy, they're a bit stupid, they're a bit thick, and they sort of swerve around randomly and do random stuff. This is entirely true of Test Drive Le Mans, both the PC and the PS1 equivalent. You've not seen me play the PS1 equivalent, but I've played it for many years. I've played it much more than I have the PC version, which is what you're watching me play right now. And as you can see, by the fact that I'm up to 11th, halfway through, barely even halfway through that 2, in easily the worst car on the grid, yes, the AI is tragic. They are rubbish. It's like driving against a bunch of old biddies. Annoyed old biddies on the PC version. They can get quite aggressive, and they will lunge up the inside. I think more out of, I don't know, blind kamikaze stupidity more than anything else. But as you can see here, look, this is the only area that I'm disadvantaged. The Marcos is a low-speed car, and this is about it, really. This is the only time they're presenting a threat to me, because they're just faster than me. That's just a fact. So, and on the PS1 version, it gets even worse, because the Le Mans 24 Hours, right? And this is the funny thing, because Eutechnyx must have some pretty good ideas as a game developer, because they were actually ahead of the curve with some of the features of Le Mans 24 Hours. One of the things was you could drive a full 24-hour Le Mans 24-hour race and save in the pits. So you could do like an hour stint, say, and then go, right, I'll pick this up in the morning. So you go in the pits, save your game, turn the console off, sleep, eat, masturbate, do whatever you need to do, and then you wake up the next morning, whatever, sit back down, load up your save, and you'll be back in hour 2, and you could do it. So you could complete the 24 hours of Le Mans. And this was something that Gran Turismo, let me remind you, didn't insert into their game until about 2010 on Gran Turismo 5, despite the fact they put 24-hour endurance races in from Gran Turismo 4 onwards, so it was ahead of the curve in certain respects. But sticking to the Le Mans 24-hour race, in the class, there's 3 classes in the game. There's GT1, which is the premier division at the time. It was kind of, they were sort of the prototype division at the time. The prototype division, which is kind of the second tier, but they're almost as fast. And then the GT2s, which is basically like the equivalent of today's GTE Pro and AM categories. I, more than once, have taken the Marcos and the Augusta Racing Corvette, which are the 2 starter cars in GT2, I've taken them to victory at Le Mans. And I'm not talking about a class victory, I'm talking overall victory. I have beaten prototypes and GT1 cars in a GT2 Marcos at Le Mans 24 Hours on the PS1. Well, there you go, there you can see, that Rook Racing car just randomly swerved across me, cut across my bows. They make no sense, they were just breaking them into the straight. He's going, I don't know where he's going, he's nowhere near the apex, he's wobbling around. It's like racing against 15 James Mays. It's just sort of tootling around, but never mind, just keep going. And that's basically how I won the Le Mans 24 Hours, and it wasn't even close. That's the tragic thing, it was not even close. I think the winning margin, I remember there was one race, this definitely happened, I won, and I beat the lead Toyota GT1 by over half a lap. So I beat the GT cars by a minute, and this was in 2 hours. Imagine if I'd ran the full 24 hours. I would have lapped them many times over. And it's weird, like, you'll get to a certain point in the race, a certain lead, and they'll just give up. And it's the same problem that Gran Turismo AI have, and it's kind of weird how both Eutechnyx and Polyphony still have seemingly problems with their AI. Neither of them refuse to make their AI any good. Now, having played stuff like Shift 2 or the TOCA series, going back to the PS1, TOCA 2 touring cars on the PS1 came out in 1998, so 2 years before Test Drive Le Mans. The AI on that game are excellent. They're really aggressive. They will nerf you off which to be fair was realistic for British touring cars at the time. And they're really aggressive. In the top mode, they are really, really hard. You really have to put blood, sweat and tears into beating them. And that's how a racing game should be. You leave the retard spastic mode to the beginners, and then you put it up to expert, and you are literally being made to cry and beg for your very life just to finish last. But my second point is the bugs. Webzik and a few other people have been talking a lot about how buggy the gameplay in NASCAR the game is. Yeah, Test Drive Le Mans, it has quite a few bugs. It has quite a few bugs nesting in there, some cockroaches, some ants, some things sort of nestling in its crevices. On the PC version, I can only play about 1/3 of the game without the game crashing. You've noticed in this Let's Play series, I can't qualify for any of the races because it will just crash to desktop. I can't race the Le Mans 24 hours because it will crash to desktop. I don't know if that was a thing when it came out. It was for Windows 98 computers and Windows ME, I think. But definitely, even in compatibility mode on Windows 7 or 8, it just won't happen. Forget it. This is basically all you can do. And even then, I actually filmed this race and the next one, and my first attempt at round 4, it crashed at the end of the race. Not the start, after I'd wasted about 25 minutes of my life. The PS1 version, yeah, there's bugs. Well, there's a funny one in multiplayer mode, because me and my mate still play multiplayer mode on Test Drive Le Mans on the PS1. In its favour, it is a good pick up and play kind of game, in the same vein as sort of the... oh, nice bit of power sliding there. There you go. Have a look at that. A bit of showboating there. Not quite in the Lindsay Jacobellis style of leading by miles and then bidding it off the final corner. There's a very funny glitch in multiplayer where the oil flag doesn't show. And the oil will only affect one player. And it's weird, we've had this happen before. One of us will be leading comfortably and the other will be in like second or third or wherever. The lead guy will just spin out on a random bit of oil that they didn't know was there. And then the other guy will come through and there'll be nothing. And it's just like, what? Is Mario like hiding in the bushes, like throwing banana skins out onto the track or something? I don't understand. There's a track in the single player championship that when you go in for your pit stop, there's about a 1 in 3 chance that the game will just never let you out the pits again and you have to restart the console. Or it will keep you in there for about 5 minutes before letting you back out again, effectively ruining your chance of the game. It's like playing Days of Thunder on the NES, which I'm hoping to restart my Let's Play series on, by the way. There's also quite an annoying bug in the Championship mode on the PS1 version, which is kind of set up career mode style. You start out in the bottom of the GT2s, like I am at the moment. Then as you go through the season, you get offers from the better GT2 teams, and then eventually, when you do well enough, you'll get offers from the prototype division, and then you do the same thing, and then you move up to the GT1 division. So it's quite cool. You go through season after season, kind of like F1 career mode, but it's almost like you're starting out in GP2. This is all well and good until you save halfway through a prototype season. You've got 3 seasons into the game. You're in a prototype, and then you load up the game, and suddenly you're back in a bottom level GT2, racing against other GT2 teams. And the only way you can then stay in the prototypes is you just have to hope and pray you've got a prototype team contract offer in your inbox. Your email inbox, you accept it straight away, otherwise you're fucked basically. You are fucked over a bramble patch. And finally, the main big thing around, or people get annoyed at, Webzik got particularly annoyed by this, is the inaccurate rosters in the NASCAR games. And yes, there's a lot of like nationwide and truck drivers in there, like Paulie. Who the hell is Paulie Haraka? And what is he doing in a Premier NASCAR game? I mean, seriously, I'm via protesting at my microphone at the moment. In fairness to Test Drive Le Mans, the roster is pretty good, except there's no driver names, which is kind of weird. It has that sort of Gran Turismo feel of you're just racing against a car, which is weird when they've clearly gone to a lot of effort to find the licenses. They've got the Labra competition, Team Orica, Toyota Motorsport, Nissan, Pescarolo, a team called Philippe Gash, who, yes, that is their real name. Gash. But yeah, there's all these accurate teams. They're all in the game, but there's no drivers, which is weird. You know, if you're going to enter your own name into the game and have your own sort of career mode as you join these teams, I just think racing against a generic car is a bit silly, really. It's like you're just racing against a robot. Like that guy I'm overtaking now is just a car. I may as well be racing against a Hot Wheels car or a model car with no driver in it. You can easily get the drivers for them. I don't see why it would be so difficult. I mean, we've seen how licensing can be fiddly in that. I mean, in F1 2013, for example, you have modern McLarens in the 2013 season. Any historic ones? No, none at all, which is really weird. You're like, hang on, you've given them permission to use the McLaren name, why not let them use the old ones? Even if we have to take all the cigarette sponsor branding off of it. And I think the most interesting thing in all this is that, obviously, Test Drive Le Mans, developed by Eutechnyx for the PS1 and PC, they released an updated version on the PS2, which has no mention of Eutechnyx at all. You can look all over the box, I've got it here, no mention of them on the box, it's just infograms. And that was a much better game, with more cars, there's more tracks, the AI are better. It's the game that Test Drive Le Mans should have been, and it has real licensed circuits like Sebring and Road Atlanta and Road America and stuff like that, as well as a fully rendered Le Mans. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Test Drive Le Mans games for what they are. I mean, in context, a 2000 spec game is pretty good, but Eutechnyx, 14 years later, and you're still making the same mistakes? Although, having said that, Polyphony Digital have been making the Gran Turismo games since 1998, and their cars still suck, and their AI still suck, and they still do the same basic things wrong every time. But it'll be to their ultimate detriment, because Eutechnyx do have the potential to develop a pretty good game, and I have the potential to get a pretty good finish in the Marcos. So that kind of concludes my Eutechnyx kind of discussion. Back to the future, Eutechnyx. You need to learn from the past. You've been making these mistakes for years. Sort your shit out. You've got the NASCAR license. You've got a game that millions of people in America and across the world want. I want to play a good NASCAR console game. I haven't done in a while. NASCAR 07 was probably the last one I really enjoyed. It had all of them. It had Nationwide, well, Bush Series at the time, trucks, wheel and modified, a bunch of really cool stuff. So why are we suddenly back in the position where we've only got Sprint Cup teams, and not even that, we've got weird fictional schemes, and we've got Paulie fucking Haraka? So, Eutechnyx, get your shit together, learn from the past, move forward. Big shout out to Mr. It's Webzik. I'll see you next time. I'm off to crawling to bed with some cold and flu tablets. Goodbye.